Hi everybody and welcome to the Train Sim World 4 Dev Diaries, where we lift the lid on the development of the latest installation of the Train Sim World franchise. Today we'll be talking about all of the new and improved features you can expect with Train Sim World 4, including the editor, photo mode, and updates to all of our creative tools. Let's take it away.
In Train Sim World 4, what we want is for players to feel more free to enjoy their collection. You want to have more creativity, both in terms of making content, the traditional creativity, but also in terms of making it up as you go along and not always having to follow the instructions.
So in Train Sim World 4, we've upgraded a load of the creators tools that are available to you. We've really tried to give as much control and customization to the player, as well as the creation tools working with each other. Scenario Planner comes with a range of new functionality. One of the biggest ones is the ability to be able to chain paths together. So that means where in TSW3 you could run a train from A to B, in Train Sim World 4 you can run it from A to B to C to D, back to A again. We have portals, which means you can send AI off the map effectively, meaning that you can create busier atmospheres. We have custom start times, scenario descriptions. We've also added the ability for you to be able to select your weather, so that's custom or dynamic, as well as the time of year that you're running your scenario. So the improvements that we've made to Livery Designer versus TSW3 are the ability to undo and redo. This is a crucial change for creators that are adding a lot of layers to their trains. In TSW3 you would effectively have to completely delete it and start again if you made a mistake, whereas with TSW4 you can simply undo the steps or redo them. The biggest change we've probably made to Livery Designer is 1,000 layer limit. That's 3 times, or more than 3 times, the layer limit that was available in TSW3, so people can get even more creative with the liveries that they're producing. We've also added the ability for custom text to be placed on the side of trains. In TSW3, people effectively used to have to do that with shapes and make the font. This year, you can simply type out your font and it will place on the side of your train. So photo mode gives control back to the player really. So imagine you're driving down a route and you've just come across this amazing shot that you want to capture. In TSW3 you had to do it in that moment, otherwise it was gone. With photo mode you're able to pause the game immediately there and then fly the camera around still to line up your perfect shot. So you capture the moment and then you can line it up. Photo mode offers the ability to apply some filters, so you can change things like saturation, brightness, contrast, exposure. Really allows you to define the picture that you want in the best way possible. Once you've captured your pictures via photo mode, you're able to then view those in the photo gallery. You can view those in full screen, or even further still, upload those to Dovetail Live. What's great is that this system is an enhancement on what previously was known as railfan shots. So that means that any pictures you may have previously captured are also viewable via the photo gallery. When it comes to the creation tools in Train Sim World 4, we've really listened to our player base and tried to implement as much of the functionality as possible.
So the UI refers to the user interface in the game, and this refers to anything that's 2D that the player interacts with. So this could be from the main menu to the pause menu to any kind of markers or widgets in-game that the player can see. We've kept the changes minimal, to be fair, because the original UI from TSW3 has worked really well. So we didn't really want to tamper with something that was already really well made. So instead what we did was just tweak on a few things that needed improvements. One improvement we decided to make were to improve the color selection of the menu buttons. So it makes it easier for the player to understand what option they have selected. We've also made a few aesthetic changes. So we've updated the menu images along with the color scheme of the menu. We've also updated the UI used in Creators Club, the online sharing hub. This is the platform where players get to share their creations with each other and share each other's mods that they've made in their spare time. We've really tried to make the UI in Creators Club look a bit more exciting and vibrant, allows people to really want to get in and explore what other people have made. We've made it more kind of look a bit like a gallery, more like a showcase of other people's works. One thing I really enjoy about working on the UI team is that we're a team that gets to communicate with every other team, because UI is something that feeds into every other aspect of the game's development. For example, we need to speak to gameplay about what kind of scenarios and timetable scenarios get plugged in and whether the scoring system is working properly. We are the people who plug in the text, and so the text that gets translated needs to go through we're kind of like the central nervous system of the, of the game.
The Train Sim World 4 editor is a full set of dev tools for making Train Sim. It's exactly the set of tools that we use here at Dovetail to make all the bits of content that ship with the game. That means building routes, building trains, building scenarios, building timetables even. All of that stuff is now possible and it's in the hands of the public.
The general theme of Train Sim World 4 is about unlocking the player creativity. It's about giving you more things to do, and it seemed obvious to roll the editor into that if at all possible. And so everything is aligned and we've been able to get that out there. So there's now something in Train Sim World 4, whether or not you are just wanting to do whatever you want in free roam, right through to doing absolutely anything you like within the editor and then sharing that with other players.
We know that there's a lot of people out there who have been practicing with UE4 for a number of years in the hopes that this product would come out and that we'd be able to make it available to them. Now those people can really realise their dreams, realise their ambitions for what Train Sim World 4's content should be, basically. And we know it's going to be a bit of a learning curve for a lot of people. So our hopes are that through the learning initiatives that we're going to put out and make available, people will be able to get the hang of it and start producing great content. And we'll publish video tutorials on YouTube, run live streams demonstrating simple actions in the editor as community events. There will be written documentation of certain features. There will be sample content made available. Where possible, we'll make available the developer documentation we use internally that explains how to build trains, lay track, make signals.
This unlocks complete potential for anyone to do anything they want and fulfill those dreams of creating amazing content.
Another really exciting feature we've been working on with Train Sim World 4 is haptics. That's the vibration on controller and light bar and speaker for PlayStation users. There's different types of vibrations depending on what you're doing. So if you're interacting with notches or switches within inside a cab, if you're passing over junctions, or even when you're coupling to trains. The light bar on PlayStation shows the next signal aspect. So if you're approaching a red signal, red light bar will show. The speaker, train system alert. So if your AWS system is sounding, that will come through the speaker and your light bar will also flash orange.
When it's raining, currently it's one of the biggest detractors to the view because it can be quite blocky in the way that the rain works. So we really wanted to step that up to a next level, and the team have made it run much more high resolution, so you won't see any of that blockiness anymore. You'll see what looks like high quality rain appearing on the windscreen and then running down the windscreen and reacting to the forces on the train and so forth. So a much more pleasant view in the rain. It's probably one of my favourite ways to drive now. So a new feature called volumetric fog that creates density in the air. So you'll now see the light cones coming out from the lights. You'll see lights emitting more clearly from the trains. In addition to that visual effect, greater density in the atmosphere means that effects such as crepuscular rays, or God rays as they're more commonly known, you'll now see those more clearly as well when the light shines through trees and so forth. Shadows combined with volumetric fog make the environment look so much more immersive. It applies even to relatively clear days because it's never perfectly clear in reality. On a foggy day, your headlights take on a whole new problem because just like in reality, your headlights just light up all the fog in front of you. So it's a new driver challenge as well.
We've implemented a new feature called the Mini HUD, which is very similar to our current HUD, except it strips back a lot of the information that new players may not need. So it allows the player to just focus more on the gameplay than rather be constantly looking at the HUD.
Working on Train Sim World 4 and the new feature set has been really challenging but also very exciting.
I feel very fortunate being working with the team that I've got because whilst it's definitely not an easy game to be working on, it's a game that has a lot of heart.
It's been different to any of the ones we've developed previously because there's been a massive focus on the feature set as being improved, as well as coming up with some interesting different content in the styles we've not done previously. So the team have actually been quite energised and engaged in what they can bring new to the experience. It's kind of, for the first time in a while, the game feels like it's stepped forward quite considerably.
With the number of creation tool updates we've done and giving the control back to the player, I'm so excited to see what's going to come through the doors, what people are able to do with that. 3 words I would use to describe Train Sim World 4 are...
I think...
thrilling, immersive and customisable.
Hang on, I think.
Really good time.
Majestic, magnificent machines.
Loads of exciting new features there, which we can't wait for you to try out when Train Sim World 4 launches on September the 26th, 2023. It's available to pre-order now on all platforms in Standard Edition, Deluxe Edition and Special Edition. We'll see you next week. We'll be talking about new experiences. See you then.